Hey, I'm Jamil. This is a boy named Jamil. Welcome back to a new video. So my oldest daughter turned 14 recently, and we always said that we wouldn't buy our kids cell phones until they needed cell phones. And so she turned 14 and she started high school. And so we were in the market for a budget cell phone to get her so that she can, enjoy having a cell phone. She's a good kid. She deserves it. So we got her one. My initial thoughts is that I would wait for the Samsung S24 FE. And so I was looking forward to that one. And Samsung finally announced it like in the dead of night. I don't even know. It was super quiet announcement. And after I saw it and I read all of the specs, I realized why it wasn't such a big deal. And that's because year over year, the S24 has gotten more and more expensive. This phone is $650 now. I think the original FE was somewhere around like $400, somewhere around like a real budget price. And when I looked at the specs and I looked at everything that the phone had that wasn't AI, it became really aware to me that this is not a budget phone anymore. Which made me ask the question: why would you spend $650 for the Samsung S24 FE when you could just get this phone? And I know what you're probably thinking. How isn't this the Samsung S24 FE? Well, let's talk about it. Because the phone that I'm holding is the Samsung A35, which is in their budget line of phones, with a caveat. So this now becomes the highest spec'd out phone in the Samsung A series, because they discontinued the one that was a little bit better because they wanted people to buy more FEs, which is kind of shady. And they even said it. They weren't shy about it. They said that they weren't bringing the A55, which is a little bit better than this. They weren't going to bring it to the United States because they wanted people to buy the FE, and I think that that's really kind of crappy on their mark. Let the market decide, right? Anyway, let's talk about the similarities in the build quality that you get. First of all, actually, let's talk about price. So as I said, the Samsung S24 FE is $650. This phone, which gives you, I'm gonna honestly say, 95% of the same phone, is only $400. And I should say that I only spent like $199, so $200 on this, because I traded in an old S9, an old Samsung S9. And so that same S9 would have only, brought the price down to $500 on the FE. So that's the first thing. $300 more, and with this phone you get about 95% of everything that you get on the Samsung FE 24 FE. So let's talk about the similarities in the build. So with the Samsung S24 FE, you get glass front, Gorilla Glass Victus 2, glass back, and then you get like the aluminum rails. And then you get the same kind of design quality, right? You still get the same like three camera kind of design signature on the back. This phone is actually glass on the back, which is actually really surprising to me, because I think teenage girls' hands is where glass backs go to die. And then this one is also obviously a glass front, but it's just Gorilla Victus. It's just the original Victus. But this phone is going to live in a case. So we're not really worried about, glass shattering. The only major difference is that the rails on this phone is plastic. And so that's the only difference. But I think it's important to say that as far as build quality goes, I think it has the same water resistance, same design language. So no one's going to look at this and be like, oh, that's, a cheap budget phone, cheap budget phone. And then one thing that this phone offers that the 24 FE doesn't offer is that it has expandable storage. And I don't know if you know anything about teenage girls. Storage is super important because they take a lot of photos. I hope I'm not generalizing there, but it's important to my teenage daughter as a photographer's daughter, by the way. So, I thought that was really cool that it still had, expandable storage on this phone. And so those are the similarities in build. We've talked about the price. I do want to say that this phone does have a fingerprint scanner, just like the 24 FE. The FE has, a supersonic fingerprint scanner, which makes it, faster, more accurate. If your fingers are wet or dirty, it might still work, or has a better chance of working. This one just has an optical fingerprint scanner, so not as fast, not as accurate, not as able to read, fingerprints, when wet or dirty. But I will say this, my daughter just uses like a pen, like a 4-digit pen, and we're comfortable with that as parents because then we can, be able to, more accurately monitor her online usage. You know what I mean? And that's really important to us as parents. So the fingerprint sensor is not something that's really important to us. As far as the display goes, I'm gonna read off some specs because they're pretty much the same. The S24 is only 0.1 inch bigger, so the S24 is 6.7. This phone is a 6.6. They're both full HD AMOLED displays with 120 hertz, adaptive screens that go down to 60 hertz when the screen is idle to conserve battery. The only difference that I've been able to find between these screens is that the S24 FE goes up to 1900 nits outside at its brightest, and this one only goes up to 1000. But I say all that with saying that we've had no problems with this screen. It's a super cool screen for $200. I mean, I think as I go through all of these specs, I think we need to remember that we paid $200 for this phone. And then as far as performance goes, the S24 Ultra has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is the same processor that I have on my S23. And I just didn't think that she needed that. I'm not sure what she would need that for. She's not a gamer. She's not playing a lot of games on her phone. As far as we were concerned, she wanted to be able to text, watch videos, and take pictures. And so this phone has an Exynos 1380, but as far as playing like video games or whatever on this phone, that's not really in her wheelhouse. I don't think that she needs the fastest processor. But if you're just, playing some leisure games that, people play on their cell phones, you shouldn't have a problem if you're looking, if you're one of those people that, performance is important to you. Another question that I have been seeing that's been asked a lot is whether or not this phone gets hot. And I think that if you were playing one of those like super, high intensive, performing games, you might run into that problem. But again, she's watching YouTube videos, she's sending text messages, she might watch some Disney Plus on here. And so she hasn't yet complained about overheating. And then in my, sort of testing that I did, out of the box, the phone never got hot. As far as battery goes, this battery is 5,000 milliamps. The S24 FE is only 4,700 milliamps. But battery life is one of those things where it comes down to how you use your phone, the lifestyle of your phone. Someone like me, I only get, half a day out of my battery if I don't charge it at some point at work. But again, I work until 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. Someone who is using their battery regularly from 8 in the morning to about 5 o'clock p.m., before they go home and put it on the charger, might find that this battery is fine. This has a 5,000 milliamp battery, and there's been no complaints. And so these phones are really close to being the same phone. I should talk about the cameras real quick. So the front-facing camera is a 13 megapixel front-facing camera. It's a front-facing camera. If you've ever used a Samsung phone and used a front-facing camera, that's what this camera is. The 50 megapixel primary camera is just all right. I think I'm one of those people who happens to think that like all cell phone cameras look the same. They look like 1-inch sensor camera photos. I don't know how else to explain it. But you do get a 50 megapixel you do get a 50 megapixel primary camera. You get a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. And then on this phone, you get a macro camera, which I don't know why they made that distinction. And on the S24 FE, you get a telephoto, a 8 megapixel telephoto. I thought that was odd that they put a micro, but I don't know. It's still just a cell phone camera to me. If photos are important to you, maybe that's one distinction that you might be willing to pay an extra $300 for, extra $400 for. Hey, to each his own. And so as we've kind of had this phone, as we've kind of been using it, and my daughter's been using it, and let me tell you, she's super happy with it. I have to ask the question, like, why would anybody buy the A24 FE for $650? Because you could get the same S24 Plus, I think, used for about the same amount of money, maybe $50 more. And so I just don't know where the FE fits in to Samsung's lineup, because even the Samsung regular 24 is a better phone than the FE. Oh, one last thing that I should mention. You don't get any of the Galaxy AI features on this phone, if that's important to you. So that's not there. And also, I guess there's 7 years of support for the FE, and this only has 4, but in 4 years she'll be 18. She'll probably go out and buy her own new phone, so whatever. So again, all of that to say, why would you buy the FE version of the S24 when the regular 24 and the 24 Plus are better phones, and it's not that much more money, especially when you consider for those phones, if you're signing up for a contract or something like that, you could probably get them for free. And with trade-ins, like with the S9 trade-in, or if you trade in another phone, you probably get the price of those phones down to the price of the Samsung FE. I just don't know why anyone would buy it. If you have this phone, or if you're looking forward to the S24 Fan Edition, let me know down in the comments what you're looking forward to. Because as far as budget phones go, I just don't know. I just don't know where that phone fits when you can have 95% of it in this $200 phone.